What's up, guys? Welcome back to Me and Freewords Podcast today. It's your boy Ryan, and today we're going to be talking about Oklahoma City Thunder. So let's get into it. So obviously, the Thunder are the first seed in the Western Conference, and things have been looking pretty great for us so far. Obviously, I'm a OKC Thunder fan, but I will not put my bias, fan perspective into this. Let's just talk about this OKC Thunder team because I've been seeing a lot of people kind of hating on them and hating on the idea of the Thunder even winning a series. Obviously last year we had the 4-0 start against the Pelicans, but Zion was out. I will give them credit for that. Um, we were looking pretty good, and then obviously we lost to the Mavs and Luka Doncic in the second round, and that's whenever kind of hit me to the core a little bit, just of how young we are. We are a very young team. I think last year was a kind of a recognition stage for us to kind of show what we can do. So when you put that all together and you see the record we have this year, I think we are looking very, very good. We have only lost to the Lakers once. We have lost to the Mavs three times. So I was praying that the Mavs would now beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and they did not. But nonetheless, AD put up a 40-point game. So, I still feel bad for all the Mavs fans out there because I see the potential in the team, but it just wasn't executed the right way. And, the injuries suck, but, you can't really prevent that from happening. I think next year the Mavs could be a really good team. I think they could be a five, maybe six seed and, make it back to the Western Conference Finals, but that's still a stretch. And I think Kyrie, man, he's that building block, that centerpiece for them. But they are an aging team because when you have AD, who's in his 30s, and you have Kyrie, who's in his 30s, who both are injury prone, you put your franchise at the stake. And, it's tough to see that happening. I think maybe they have another good 2 to 3 years maybe without praying that there's no injuries. But when you trade away a guy like Luka Doncic and you give away a lot, I mean, barely anything actually, for AD and for giving Luka away, like that's still a very suspect trade nonetheless. And, I think for what Nico Harrison has done to that team is really sad. Obviously he has his own perspective on it. Defense wins championships, all that. But, again, we have seen the result. Injuries are really bad. I think if the injuries wouldn't have happened, I think the Mavs would probably be a six or a five, maybe a seven seed at the lowest. But again, you just don't trade away somebody like Luca who's took your team to the finals, and I know it's been said a lot of times, but maybe next year, maybe Nico Harrison can get some good drafting players and put them out on the floor and get some more young guys on this team because right now it's not looking great. But again, back to OKC, I think the Memphis Grizzlies is the best matchup for us. That was really helping. We're hoping for the Kings, but Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are both 0-3 in the play-in tournament, which sucks. But you know, um, I think Grizzlies still are a really good team. They have a lot of young talent, and this year they've been okay, and they've been off and on because of injuries. John Morant, obviously, with the celebrations, have been kind of reckless to say the least. Um, and I did see some that, we are 17, we're on a 17 game win streak against the Grizzlies right now. So that's really good for us. And then obviously after we beat them, we're gonna have to go to the second round and face, some good teams, either Clippers or Nuggets. Both are good teams, both have great players on each team, and both have been looking a lot better. More so the Clippers and the Nuggets the last couple of weeks with the Nuggets firing the coach. Obviously you don't do that right before the playoffs. I don't really see the point of it, especially in a guy who led you to the finals and got you a championship only 2 years ago. Um, and Clippers, on the other hand, are looking really great. Kawhi's back. He's looking like 2019 Kawhi. And I think James Harden's looking really, really good as well. I think they probably are going to win that series against the Nuggets, but I think the Nuggets still put up a really good fight. I mean, I really want Russ, I really want to see Russ back in OKC for the playoffs. I think that'll be not just great for the NBA, but great for fans of OKC and Oklahoma City and what he's done for us. I know it'd be a really salty matchup, but I think that would be probably amazing to see. Um, but again, second round, we have to be in a winning position. We have to be at least 5 or 6 games done. I think both teams can put up a good fight, obviously, but you know, okay, see, I'm still a little suspect because I've been seeing all the criticism on the Sports Center and ESPN with Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith and Mad Dog Russo and all those guys dogging us, telling us we're not good, even though we are. We are. We're literally number one seed in the Western Conference, the best conference in the NBA by far. Um, so again, it's tough to see that much hate going towards a team that's so great. You know what I mean? And it definitely has put me a little bit in a tough spot because I think we can definitely make it to the finals. But again, playoff OKC basketball, we've not really seen much of it. Last year we got a little taste. It wasn't a great result. This year I'm hoping for a lot more. And yeah, I think, Shea again, he has got to be the MVP, man. He has got to be. It can't be Jokic again. I mean, he's got it 4 times. He doesn't even care anymore that he has the MVP trophy. So I think just for the NBA, for the fans, I think Shea would be the better MVP of this league and this year. Um, he's obviously going to carry the team. We have Chet, who's kind of been injured most of the year. I think he'll bounce back, and it's going to take him a couple games, obviously, in the playoffs, but I think he'll be really good for us. And obviously, Jalen Williams, All-Star this year. He's been looking fantastic, and same with Isaiah Hartenstein. And Casey Wallace, defensive god. Same with Alex Caruso and Shea as well. I mean, we're just such a great defensive team. Like, I don't really see us giving up a lot of points each game. And, I think the only thing that we really need to work on and really make sure we're on point about is scoring. Because last year, you know, in the series against the Mavs, we obviously did not have great shooting performances in games 2 and 3. So I think if we can change and flip that around and have some really good shooting in all the series we play, I think we'll have a good chance of making the finals and ultimately winning the championship. Um, Nonetheless, I think what we've done so far this year is amazing, but I really, really want that trophy in OKC going around the city on the parade. Like it would mean so much. Um, but for the first round predictions for the NBA, here we go. First off, I think it's going to be OKC in 4 against the Memphis Grizzlies, picking them in 4. And then Clippers Nuggets, I'm going to have to go with, yes, the Clippers. But I really want the Nuggets to win. But I feel like the Clippers will win just because they've been looking recently, and their team's chemistry has really been building the last couple of weeks. So I'm gonna have to go with them in 7 because that's gonna be a really great series to watch. And then Lakers Timberwolves, I'm gonna have to go with. This is tough. As an OKC fan, I really don't want to pick the Lakers, but I just can't see them, not winning this series. So I'm gonna say Lakers in 6, not 5. Sorry. Timberwolves get 2 wins. And then lastly, we have Warriors Rockets. I'm going Rockets. I don't see the hype in the Warriors. They're not looking as great this year. Jimmy Butler has been off and on. Stephen Curry, he's been great, but he does have a couple bad games. We saw it last time when they played the Rockets, he only had 3 points. So I'm picking the Rockets. Their defense is crazy, and they look great. They're a young team, great coach, Ime Udoka. I'm believing in them. I'm taking the Rockets. So let me know your thoughts below. What you guys think is going to happen this playoff series and this whole playoff period. I didn't do it in the Eastern Conference because I'm not really worried about it right now. But focusing on the Western Conference, let me know down below what you think, and if I'm wrong, maybe if I'm right too. I think I am right. So thanks so much. See you guys.